Hello and welcome back to Firestorm Games, and you're joining us as we take a look at the third and final of the ships for the Kharadron Overlords. Now this is the Arkanaut Ironclad, and it is the largest of the three ships. You can see here just how big the box is itself. So we have the completed and assembled and painted Arkanaut on the front here, and if I flip this box over, you can see the Ironclad here as well. A few different angles, a few close-ups on the various weapon options you get on here, and also, as we always see on these boxes, just some hints on how to paint it as well. So let's open this up and take a look at the contents inside. So first of all, we have the Arkanaut Ironclad's instruction booklet. You can just about see here just how thick it is. So if you're planning on assembling this, make sure you block out an entire afternoon to do so. It's very large and very complex miniature. You can see all the instructions here are full colour. Again, we've got the nice little colour coding as well, so you know which parts have come from previous steps, which parts you should be gluing, the yellow steps. All the components are numbered as well, makes life a lot easier when assembling your ship. So you can see here there's lots of steps indeed, and we're going to be taking a long time to get through all these if we went into detail, and also even longer to assemble it itself. Now at the back here we have the war scroll itself with the special rules. A nice little handy reference point there, especially if you're assembling this without any access to the internet or anything. You can look at the weapon options and what they do before you assemble. And on the final page we have a more detailed, in-depth guide on how to paint your Arkanaut Ironclad. So let's move on to the sprues. So here we have the first sprue, and what dominates it is the main hull of the ship itself. You can see it's absolutely huge and immense, and just come in pretty much a few components of the doors. All these little panels and additional items are all sculpted onto these single pieces. It does make assembling it a lot easier, but even so, the detailing hasn't been scrimped on. You can see all the nice detailing on these panels as well. Now talking about the size, this is actually one of the few realistic miniatures in terms of transport capacity. In the rules it can contain 20 Arkanauts or other Skyfarers, and you know what, I actually reckon 20 Arkanauts could actually fit into this. So it really is pretty well. So if I actually just got an Arkanaut here, you can see 20 of these guys could easily cram themselves into one of these ships. So on this sprue you've got lots of additional items to building it, of course, lots of steam, pipes, gauges and other very steampunk inspired items. We've got the supremacy mine at the back here as well. Very nicely detailed indeed, lots of rivets, pipes, things like that. And you can see here we've got the starting of the figurehead that sits on the prow of the ship there. Now this is a theme we've seen across all of the ships so far, and this is by far the largest, has the largest beard of them all. So that's the first sprue looked at. Let's move on to the second. The second sprue that we have here contains the ether engines, which actually power the ship and keep it afloat. You can see just how immense these are. Now if I actually bring in the ether engine from the frigate, you can just about see this is the biggest one on there. You just see how much bigger these particular ones are. Again, we've got lots of rivets, lots of detailing on here, such as cogs, pipes, vents, grills. Everything you would imagine you would see on some kind of steampunky vessel such as this. We've also got some controls for the ship as well, all these various dials, knobs, gauges that are accompany the ship's wheel. We've also got some other nautical details such as this anchor. We also have a beer casket there, no doubt full of Bugman's brew, and other items as well. So we've got the doors here, we've got some various pipes that actually feed the ether engine itself. So that's the second sprue looked at. Let's move on to the final. So this brings us to the third and final sprue. Now this contains most of the small details that make up the ship, as well as the actual deck itself. If I flip this over, you can see here all the detailing that goes into this deck. We've got this kind of like wooden grating effect across the surface there. We've also got all the crew as well. There are quite a few crew members on this particular ship, all doing various jobs. So we've got captains, we've got some engine riggers as well. So I think one of my favourite items on this entire sprue is actually this little paintbrush here. You can see when you actually fully assemble it, you have an engineer who's kind of hanging from the side of the hull and doing some repairs as well as repainting the hull as well. Those details really bring these kits to life. We have an immense amount of bombs, so you can see them all here on these bomb racks, and lots of other items as well. So we've got various weapons such as these chains, these knives and other items on here as well. So overall, a very nice and detailed sprue. So let's get these components all together and get this kit assembled. So there we have it, the Arkanaut Ironclad. Now this really is an immense miniature. It will tower over pretty much any other miniature that you find in Age of Sigmar. There's not much that can kind of compare to it in scale and size. It's an immensely detailed miniature as well. Lots of tiny little details packed into this entire kit. It does make it a little bit more tricky to assemble because there's lots of little fiddly bits, and also when you come to paint it, you're probably best assembling it in parts and painting in parts as opposed to building the whole miniature in once and trying to paint it and get your paintbrush into all these nooks and crannies. Now once again, this kit is quite lacking in terms of its customizability. There's not really much in the way of swapping out weapon options or even crew items either. For example, you've got the cannon here which can be swapped out for one or another option, but that's pretty much it. Now this isn't too bad when you're talking about the Ironclad, because chances are you'll probably be running at least one of these in your force, maybe not anymore, maybe at most two. So having two of them that are identical isn't really too bad. So you can just make a few changes via some conversion items from your other kits, or even just changing some of the markings on the ship itself. Now apart from those small minor matters, this kit really is something you should definitely consider picking up if you're thinking about running the Kharadron Overlords. It's an excellent centerpiece miniature. It can transport your Arkanauts across the battlefield in style, speed, and also comfort as well. It's an excellent miniature both to look at as a display piece, but also to use on the battlefield as well. Now if you want to pick one of these up for yourself, it's available for £63 on the Firestorm Games web store, which is 10% below the RRP of £70. So if you want to pick one of these up, I'll pop a link in the description below, take you directly to the Firestorm Games web store, where you can get one of these Arkanaut Ironclads for yourself. Now if you enjoyed this unboxing, please do let us know in the comments below. And also don't forget to subscribe to be kept up to date with all of our future videos. Now all that's left to say is thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again on Firestorm Games.